Okay, welcome to our first push day. So, push day is essentially exercises that are going to be having a push movement. So, that usually targets our chest, triceps, our front shoulders, and I'll also add in some side lateral day. Ooh, what? Side lateral raises for our side delts. And yeah, let's start off with some bench press, shall we? I always like holding the bar at least like an inch from the rings. It just feels more comfortable. But I heard somewhere that if you want to target your chest more, you want it a bit wider, and if you want to target your triceps more, you want to do a close grip. So see what works for you, what you want to work on. But for me, I'm on the neutral side. All right. Let's put on some 45s, and the way I do my bench press set is the same as I do my deadlift sets. I do it by 9-6-3, so I lower my reps each set, and so that I can put on more weight, because for those types of lifts I actually want to focus on like strength, like not really so much as for hypertrophy, like proper building muscle, but I want to lift heavy weights with those types of exercise. But again, if you're alone, like especially with a bench press, you don't really want to go try out your one rep max without a spotter. So yeah, we'll just hover around, just warming up my shoulders a little bit. So yeah, before you start your workout, you actually want to be I feel it's way better if you start your workout when you're like kind of already in a sweat. So I recommend like actually doing warm-ups, like I don't know, something that makes you sweat, just work up a little sweat before you even start your workout. It's much better, because when you do your workout when you're still cold, like not properly warmed up, your first exercise is going to be not really efficient and not really of a high quality, because you treated your first exercise as your warm-up, whereas you actually do a warm-up, then you do your first exercise. It's way better. But although I didn't really do warm-ups yet, so I really shouldn't be talking, but I'm kind of feeling warm now, so should be good. So my current goal for the bench press is I want to lift 225 for 3 reps, because I tried 225, but it wasn't really like perfect. Like it was shit form basically. So I don't like counting that as a PR if you don't do it with proper form. I don't think you should count it as your PR in my opinion. But yeah, I want to do three clean reps of 225 by, like, you know, I don't know, maybe 3 months from now. But yeah, I want to do 225 right now for one, but then again, I really don't want to risk getting crushed by the bar, you know, since I have no spotter and I'm not really experienced in lifting 225. But yeah, maybe in the next push day, we'll try 225 with a spotter. But for now, let's do 6 of these. Alright. It's also crazy to think that people are starting to lift 800 pounds in bench press. You know, I've seen a video lately of a guy bench pressing 800 pounds. Like, so 45. Damn, how many plates is that? That's like, I don't know, 10. That's like 9 plates each side. 8 to 9 plates each side. That is each side, like 8 plates right here. Very impressive, you know. It's crazy what humans can do. But then again, I keep imagining like 8 plates, like someone actually lifting that. Very impressive, you know. But for me, if I had like a dream, you know, if like my end goal for a bench press, I would like to someday, I would like to hit at least 400 pounds, you know. I think that's a really good benchmark. You know, I think that's a good strength level. She can hit 400 pounds in bench press, but right now, let's focus on getting to 225 first. That is my goal. And yeah. Oh, wow. Wow, I just lost strength there. See, that is why you need safety bars. And whew, man, yeah. So for that last rep, I really tried to touch my chest. I mean, I could have probably finished the rep if I just didn't push it, get it down really down. But yeah, I really wanted to focus on form, but whew, got saved by these things right here. So yeah, this is why I really don't want to attempt 225 without a spotter, because, you know, I could barely control this by putting these here. But you know, I actually wondered what I would have done if these safety bars weren't here. Like, what do you actually do in that situation? I guess you could roll it up to your hips, but I don't know. That would have been interesting to see, but fortunately, we're safe. Yeah, man. I don't know what happened on that last rep. I thought I had it, but I started pushing, couldn't. But yeah, 225 is gonna be a long goal ahead. But hopefully one day I could look back and watch this and was like, I failed that? Now I'm doing this for reps. You know, one day, one step at a time. So let's now move on to incline dumbbell presses. So for these, we're gonna be doing 3 sets of 10. yeah, for that set, I feel like I could have done more reps, but since I feel like I could have done more reps during that set, then the next set, I'm gonna be putting the weight on. I'm gonna put on more weight. So yeah, I could still achieve failure. So, if you feel like during your first set, you could have done more reps, you should probably just push through, like, let's say you were gonna do 10. If you feel like you are gonna be able to do more, you should probably do more. But in my case, I just said I'm just gonna increase it on my next set. But yeah, if you feel like you could do more, then you should probably do more, because you don't really want to stick, like, let's say you already made a plan to lift 10 reps of 20 kilogram dumbbells, but when you do it, you feel like you could do more, then you should probably adjust your workout and do more. I like making the sound, like, for each rep, like like, because I feel like, you kind of become like a hydraulic press, like a machine, like, so that's why I like making that sound when doing reps, especially with pushing movements, because it makes you feel like you're a hydraulic press that can lift, that can crush anything. But yeah, let's do one more set and let's move on to the next exercise. All right, that was a pretty good set, and let's now move on to some shoulder presses. Right. So when I do my shoulder presses, I always like to do them sitting down, because what I noticed, because I used to do them standing up, but what I noticed is that I tend to use my legs to be able to lift the dumbbell up, and I was like, I could lift really heavy, like heavier than now. But then I realized it was coming from my legs. My shoulders were still getting activated, but for shoulder presses, I really just want to focus on my shoulders. So, I think if you really want to isolate your shoulder and let your shoulder do the work, then you should do shoulder presses sitting down. But I understand the usability of doing standing shoulder presses, because it also trains the stability of your body. So there's definitely some use cases for that. But since I just want to target my shoulders, I think seated shoulder presses are better in that case. Okay. Okay. So yeah, training to failure really feels good. You know, like when you're on when you're on those last few reps, and even if your form starts to crumble, you try to push it. But yeah, once you've reached that, then your set is really good. But again, when you try to go to failure, you still want to maintain your form. Like when I said your form is crumbling, it's just, like it's about to crumble, but it's still solid because as you notice, sure, I failed my set, but I didn't really, my body really like I didn't do all of these like, just to try a leg, but I still maintained the proper position and the proper form, even though I can't lift it. It's still on the same path as a proper form would be. So that's what you want to be careful on, because when they say train to failure, they don't really mean like your form starts to become dangerous, because you still want to avoid injury. So as much as possible, if you want to train to failure, try to keep your form still compact. Like you can cheat, but that's a different thing. Like let's say for bicep curls, right? You can definitely cheat by doing that, but your form is not really getting put in a dangerous position because it's not really like destroying, like, like it's not putting you at a risk of injury. I mean, unless when you really stretch it out, then there's a chance that like you really want to be careful with bicep, exercise as well. Like you don't want to go very heavy. I've heard an advice that for bicep curls, it's better to have less weight and more reps than higher weight for less reps, because you know to avoid those like bicep tears. But back to what I was saying. you know like if you're on that last rep of your bicep curls and you want to put in more reps, then sure, you can definitely move your body and ask more help. But let's say for deadlifts, right? That's probably the exercise that you really want to be careful when you want to train it to failure, because most people's idea of training to failure for a deadlift is, you know, their form starts crumbling, and their back starts to not be stable, which is very dangerous. So, especially for deadlifts, like if you want to train for failure on that, if you feel like your form starts to crumble, then you should probably end your set. But yeah, let's do one more set of these and let's move on. Okay. Right. That was kind of weird how on that third set I was able to do more proper reps than the second set. Yeah, it's really interesting. Maybe because I got a little bit more rest from the talking I just did, but maybe that's why proper rest time is important. I've also heard that a proper rest time is about 1 to 3 minutes, but I assume like isolation exercises are a bit below that, but a good rest time is above a minute from what I've seen. So yeah, that was a good set. And we're gonna be doing some chest flies with bands. So I'm gonna show you how to do a chest fly using just bands. You can do flies using a bench and then using some dumbbells, but I tried that and I don't really get the same contraction throughout the movement. as I do with bands, because for like, you know, bench flies, I really only feel the tension when it is like stretched out. But as I close the movement, I don't really feel the same tension. But with bands, I feel the tension all the way through, and I even feel it more as I contract it. So yes. So with this, we're gonna be doing 3 sets of 15, and for flies as well, I actually want to target my upper chest because I want this to grow more, because I think that's gonna be a more aesthetic look. But yeah, I really want to focus on my upper chest. So the way I do that is I get at an angle right here, and then I kind of do it like a scoop movement. So yeah, I definitely feel it on my upper chest right there. So yeah, let's do 3 sets of 15 each, each side, and yeah, let's start. Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Chest feels pumped up. So next exercise we're gonna be doing is some lateral raises. For the width of your shoulder. Lateral raises, I like doing this for 5 sets. I mean, I used to do this with only 3 sets, but I really want to put some emphasis on my shoulders, to look wider, because I'm a really skinny guy and I don't really have broad shoulders, unfortunately. So we kind of have to overcompensate, But so yeah, 5 sets of these for 10 to 15. I mean, yeah, for 10 reps, but with proper form, And yeah, let's start. Yeah. So for lateral raises, I noticed that. I mean, I like I said, I used to do like 15 reps for it, but I realized when I did 15 reps, I was doing it like with this rhythm, like, I'm using momentum. But since I started like focusing on holding it at the top and letting it slowly back down instead of like raising it and then dropping it immediately, I definitely feel more tension on my belt, so which is a good thing. So I think if you do lateral raises, you really want to hold as much at the top and do it slow, like release it slowly back down with tension instead of just letting it drop down immediately. So yeah, and also, by the way, I actually just recently learned, I now officially know what eccentric and concentric means. So eccentric is basically when your muscles are getting stretched, and concentric when it's getting compressed. Like, so let's say a dumbbell curl, right? So when you really sit back down, that's gonna be the eccentric part of the exercise, of the movement. And when you curl it up, that's gonna be the concentric part. So yeah, I can properly explain what certain types of like exercises do. So yeah, let's use it as an example earlier. So when you're at the top part of your lateral raises, the eccentric part you want to hold. You don't want to really sit immediately back down. You want to hold the eccentric part slowly, giving it tension. So yeah, concentric and eccentric. So if you guys hear that from other videos, that's what that means. Eccentric is the stretch part of the movement. Concentric is going to be when you're contracting the muscle. Nice. Okay. Muay Thai. Okay. All right. Yeah, that feels good. That feels really good. Yeah. So, also when I do my rep for lateral raises, I like to imagine I'm Yujiro Hanma. I don't know if you guys seen Baki the Grappler anime, but Yujiro Hanma has this pose like such a badass pose, like a Y pose. So I like to imagine I'm Yujiro Hanma. It gives me strength. But yes, anyways, let's move on to the final exercise, which are some banded tricep push downs. And let's do it. Toji. Toji. Let me actually try 4 bands and see how I feel. If I can do it properly, then go back to 3. So for my tricep push downs, so we're gonna be using bands, and we're gonna be doing 5 sets of 15. So, and I'll only do this variation. I used to do this, and also neutral, but I feel like I just want to do this for a bit, because I don't know. Okay. Okay, that's actually tough. Yeah, let me try one more. Okay. You know what? We can do it. We can do it. Yeah. So I don't know if that was proper form. Probably not, but kind of feels good, you know, because I've only been doing 3 bands. You know, I might actually start doing 4 now. You know, yeah. So yeah, 4 more sets, and we should be done. Ay. Ah. Okay. Muay Thai. Muay Thai. Come on. Usman. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Whew. All right. Okay. All right. So, yeah, it's a pretty good workout. And that's gonna be our last exercise. So, well, yeah, triceps, definitely feel it. So, yeah, I'm gonna be doing 4 bands from now on. If you're wondering how much, you know, the tension of this is I'm not actually sure, because it says here it's supposed to be 50 pounds per band, but I don't really believe it, because, yeah, I don't think so. So I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to get a scale for this, but, you know, I guess it doesn't really matter anyways, because if you want to try and do this, you know, it depends upon your strength level and how many and what type of bands you're gonna use. So yeah, just get a band, try out some bands, and if you feel it's good for you, then, you know, use it. So yeah, we're gonna be eating some oatmeal today, and yeah, I'm gonna rest a little bit, 5 minutes, then we're gonna go to the kitchen and make some oatmeal. Right, so we're gonna be making some oatmeal, and first thing you need, of course, is some oatmeal. I just use Quaker oats, and actually, I actually start to measure it with the scoops that I use for my protein powder. So, and also the other thing that I have changed from my usual oatmeal is I used to only use like milk, like those milk sachets, like milk powder, I mean. But now I realize I can just use actual, you know, protein powder as my milk. So I put in 1 scoop, and then I do 5 scoops of oatmeal, because it is enough for me. I think it's a pretty good size, you know. I think that gives me about like 600 calories for 5 scoops, and like good amount of protein along with the shake. I mean, protein powder. Okay, yeah. I think that's good. Talk about a little bit more. Yeah. And then I also have these bananas that I put in here to have a little bit of flavor. Let me get a spoon. So actually, when I was really skinny, like really, really skinny, this was the food that actually made me gain a lot of weight. You know, I vividly remember I was like 69 kilograms at one point. You know, and then I started to go on I did some research, and I concluded that I should probably add oatmeal to my diet because number one, it's really cheap, and I didn't have a lot of money back then. And secondly, it has enough calories and a good amount of protein as well. So, and also the one thing I like about oatmeal is that it's very easy to digest. Like after I eat my oatmeal, I don't really feel like super full. Like I don't feel heavy after I eat oatmeal. So yeah, I have this, and we're gonna add some water. The interesting oh the interesting thing about the way I eat my oatmeal is I actually don't use hot water, because I'm pretty sure yeah, it says here just add hot water, but for this specific type of oats, it's instant oatmeal, so you know, I mean, I think you're still supposed to cook it a little bit by adding hot water, but I just add normal water and it already tastes good. So, I prefer it this way. But you probably should add hot water if you want. But I'm already used to this, so I'm just gonna eat this. So yeah, when I was skinny, this is the type of food, I mean this specifically, the food that I ate to gain like weight very quickly. Like I said, I was 69 kilograms at one point, and then within a month, I like gained like to 76 kilograms. So was it 76 or 77? So, like, sure, it wasn't like pure lean muscle mass, but since I was anyways, I had low body fat, so a little bit of fat was not a bad thing for me. So if you're a skinny guy, having fat in your diet is definitely a good thing. But once you get to a certain point, because I actually got to a certain point where I still ate tons and tons of food, but then I realized that my body is becoming like fat. Like I thought the fat was gonna be distributed evenly, like throughout my arms and all that's gonna make me bigger. But then what I noticed that I was gaining fat on the wrong. Alright, so I just realized when I went off to pause the recording that the recording actually got cut off because we ran out of memory card space. So yeah, that's unfortunate. I actually said a lot of things, but anyways, to just recap what I missed, what the recording missed is I was just talking about why oatmeal is good, and that if you want to gain weight, you still want to eat the things that you normally eat. Like let's say you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like whatever kinds of foods you are normally eating, just keep eating them. Like you don't want to tell your parent, like let's say your parents are cooking for you, You don't want to tell them that you need a specific type. I mean, sure, if they can, but it's not necessary if you're, especially if you're starting. If you want to gain weight, just eat what you normally eat, and then just add something in between. Like my recommendation is oatmeal because it has good calories, and you'll definitely gain weight. Like I gain weight definitely. So yeah, just add a meal in between your usual meals if you want to gain weight. And so yeah, I really don't know what else I have missed on the recording, but yeah, I'll do. I'll definitely remember to clear up some space next time. But so yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Grind.